I'm not saying that you have to 100% do everything on your own. Definitely ask for help when you need it. Receive help when it's offered. There's nothing wrong with being helped. But if Black people keep waiting for the system to change to save them from their bad situations, it's most likely never going to happen. I don't want to say never, anything is possible, but that could be a lifetime of waiting, and you may never see it before your lifetime is done. Hello, beautiful beings of light. My name is Monica. Today's video is titled, Will BLM End Systematic Racism? So I know a few of you may be surprised I'm making another video on the topic of BLM because in my last BLM video, I said that I was hoping I wouldn't feel inspired to make another video on this topic because it does resonate at a very low vibration compared to a lot of the topics that I talk about in my videos. But nonetheless, I still felt inspired this morning to make this video because every once in a while I get a really good comment from you guys that really makes me think, and I have a lot to say about it that I can't necessarily express fully in replying to your comments. So I just figured I would make a video and speak my truth in a video instead. So now I will read the comment that inspired this particular video. And it says, I think the movement is not about single people being racist or not, but the system that keeps Black people poor and in bad infrastructure, and because of that with less opportunities. Still agree with you on your points, just wanted to point this out. Once again, thank you so much for this comment and all of your comments. It really helps me to think about what you guys are talking about and kind of facilitate more of a conversation on the responses that some of you give. So I did respond back to this individual. I won't necessarily read it, but I will touch on basically what I said in more detail. So first of all, I'm not sure if I particularly understand what systematic racism is. What is the system exactly? Is the system the government? Is it something else? I'm not really sure, but I'm just going to assume that it's the government. And I want to preface this by saying that I am in no way, shape, or form anti-government. I am not anti-anything. To be anti means to be against. I prefer to be pro, meaning to be for something. I'm going to stand for something instead of resist and push against something else that I may not particularly believe. And also, the government has been a huge help to me in a lot of ways. There were times when I was younger, when I was a kid, and we had to use food stamps and we had to use other programs by the government that helped with assisting us with housing and things like that because we were so poor that we couldn't afford rent on our own and we couldn't afford groceries. So there are many things that I'm very grateful for the government for. That's just a few examples, but also I was awarded the state. I didn't go into foster care, but I left home when I was 16, and I had a lot of assistance from the government. I have worked with social workers, one in particular who has been basically a second family to me. So I'm not anti-government. I don't hate the government. I don't believe in any of that. However, I will say that I do believe that there is a shadow government of elite people who are pulling the strings of the puppets of the politicians in government that you see today, whether it be Democrat or Republican. I think they're all controlled, and I don't trust that part of the government. I don't trust the government to make decisions for me and for my own personal well-being and for my body. I will take everything they say with a grain of salt. I will critically think about it, I will research it, and then I will go with my own instinct or intuition about how I feel about it, or what I think about it, or what I'm going to do or not do. I don't think that the entire government is racist. That would be a very bold statement to make. Therefore, I don't really think there's systematic racism. I believe, yes, there are some people in the government who are racist. There are some people in every single profession on earth who are racist. There are people beyond white people who are racist. There are racists in every single race, every single group. It doesn't matter. Like there just is. Yes, that is a thing. I will admit that I believe that there is racism and I've experienced it and I know other people are experiencing it. That does not mean that there's this conspiracy that the whole government is racist and trying actively to keep Black people poor and oppressed for their entire lives. Some people in the government, I'm sure, that is their goal, or that is a benefit to them for some reason. But I also believe that there are lots of people within the government individually who are not racist and who truly want to help people. They want to help people and see them succeed. They're genuine and you're pure-hearted and they have positive intentions. But I believe that the people at the very top, whether you want to call them the shadow government, the elites, the Illuminati, whatever word you may want to use for them, the people that we don't know a ton about, or the people who are, like I said, pulling the strings, which I believe are the richest families in the world, like the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, their agenda is having money and power and control. And the only thing they want more of is more money, power, and control, even though they have the majority of it. They have the majority of the money that they use to influence certain agendas that are negative, that are very fear-based. And I believe that BLM is one of them. It is not to help Black people. If you have been following me for a while, then you probably have noticed that the main theme of my channel is empowerment. For everyone to be able to manifest their dream life, no matter what it is, no matter what situation you're currently in, no matter what you look like. It doesn't matter what your skin color is. Every single person holds the power to create their own reality. Most people are just not aware of it. So most people continue to feel powerless their entire lives. And one of the main reasons that people choose to feel powerless is because they don't take responsibility for their own lives. I actually just made a video about this topic very recently. I will link it above. But it's people who are blaming everything and everyone outside of themselves for their own problems. Yes, I understand we are born sometimes into unideal situations, into abusive situations, into poor conditions, into unhealthy, unloving families. And then in the other video that I was talking about just now, I said before we come down here and incarnate as humans on Earth, our soul creates a blueprint of what we want our lives to be like, what experiences we want to have so that we can learn from them. So you know how they say, you can't choose your family? Well, I believe that we did choose our family. We chose who we were going to be born to or through. We also chose which people we wanted in our lives to teach us certain lessons, whether they seemed like good lessons or they seemed like bad lessons. Either way, we always get something from these lessons that help us to grow if we choose it. So which basically means that we are responsible for everything that happens in our lives. And if we take responsibility for it, we take our power back. Because so many times I see, and I'll just give some examples of people who are victimizing themselves, choosing to be victims because of outside circumstances, such as since this whole thing started with COVID, I can't tell you how many times I've been in a grocery store, now I don't go anymore, but in the beginning, where I would see people with a mask on and I would see them with gloves on, and they're putting their food and their items on the conveyor belt for the cashier, and I see things like bologna and bacon, which is a class 1 carcinogenic, you can look that up, on top of cigarettes and alcohol and just all kinds of fake processed foods. Now, I'm not here to judge anyone on what they eat. I still eat some processed food, all plant-based, but I still do. But I take responsibility for any health problems I have because I take responsibility for what I put in my body. So anyways, I'm seeing people eating and smoking and drinking all of these toxins, and yet they're afraid of COVID. And then I also see these same people typically who will bully and harass other people online who are not wearing masks if they choose not to, basically saying that it is other people's responsibility to take care of their health. So basically, it's basically like me saying it's not my responsibility to take care of my health. It is my doctor's responsibility. It's the government's responsibility. It is other people, strangers outside of me. It's their responsibility to take care of my health. So I need everyone else to wear a mask and to get a vaccine so that I can be healthy and safe. Not taking into account what food I'm eating, how much water I'm drinking, if I'm smoking, if I'm drinking alcohol, if I'm taking drugs, if I'm exercising, if I'm getting restful sleep every night. Am I getting enough hours? Am I thinking positive thoughts? All of these things that go into health, along with how much time am I spending outside? Am I getting enough fresh air? Am I getting enough sunlight and vitamin D? Those things are my responsibility, no one else's. So I'm not going to blame anyone else for me being unhealthy. If I'm unhealthy, then I need to make some lifestyle changes. It is not up to everyone else to keep me healthy. Another example of this I've seen is so many people who get up in arms about global warming and climate change, and they will protest and walk out and do rallies basically demanding that huge corporations do something about climate change and global warming. A lot of people don't take the personal responsibility. Such as a lot of people, what they don't understand or realize is that even eating meat is detrimental to the environment. It causes a lot of damage and destruction. But instead of people choosing not to eat meat, for instance, this is just one example, they will blame outside corporations for all of the damage to the environment, and they want them to make a change instead of them making a personal change. To blame other people and things outside of us is giving your power away. It's saying that I can't do anything until they change. So going back to the topic of this video, if all Black people, including myself, were to say that I can't make a better life for myself, I can't get ahead, I can't make more money, I can't live where I want to live, I can't do what I want to do because the system is keeping me oppressed, keeping me poor, keeping me living in bad conditions, then you're never going to get out of that condition. You're never going to get out of that bad situation, because it's always someone else's responsibility for your life, not yours. That is an extremely disempowering belief. And it breaks my heart, to be honest, that some people think this way. I can honestly say I've been in a lot of, terrible situations, living situations. I have been homeless. A lot of you probably already know that. I've mentioned it a few times in my videos. But not once did I think that it's the government or the system's fault that I am homeless, that I am poor, that I don't have everything I want in life, and that it's their responsibility to do it for me. And I know this is going to sound harsh, and this is something that a lot of people don't want to hear, but I'm going to say it anyways, because this is my truth. And I stumbled upon the law of attraction, which is what I talk about a lot here. And I discovered it for myself to be true. And that's why I share how I have personally manifested, created my dream life. Right now, I am full-time RVing with my husband. We are in the middle of a national forest. You can probably see the trees behind me. There's absolutely no one else around. This is my dream life, to be smack dab in the middle of nature, to be living in a very minimalist way, to travel and to see the country for freedom. And some people might look at me and say, you're privileged because I married someone who makes more money than me, who can afford to do this lifestyle, and I don't have to work. And instead, because I don't have to work a full-time regular job anymore, I am right here spreading these messages and helping people in the best way I know how. And I've had so many people tell me that these videos have been really helpful. And believe me, I am grateful for everything I have. And I am grateful for all the struggles I had back when I was poor, back when I was homeless. And Even through a majority of my relationship with my husband, I worked. I helped build our savings. I helped pay off debt. I don't feel bad for the position I'm in now. I feel like I've definitely earned it. There's nothing wrong with having money. There's nothing wrong with being rich. There's nothing wrong with being abundant. There's nothing wrong with living your dream life. So I'm so tired of people saying, oh, you're privileged, like it's a bad thing. Everyone is privileged in different ways. Even when I was poor and homeless, I was privileged in certain ways. But the point that I'm trying to get at is that if black people, not just black people, and that's the other thing. I know, I've lived in a lot of places and I know of a lot of people who are white who live in poverty. I know a lot of people who are Hispanic and Native American who live in poverty. I've had friends, and I don't recall them ever complaining and saying that it's the government's responsibility to get them out of their situation. It's each and every person's individual responsibility. And a lot of people will say, oh, I can't do it because of this and this person and that and the other. But what really people need to understand is that everything starts with your mindset. Do you believe that you're deserving and worthy of having the life that you want right now? That is the very first step. And that is going to create and attract certain emotions and actions that you're going to feel inspired to take. Opportunities that are going to come up. People that are going to come to you that are going to help you out. I'm not saying that you have to 100% do everything on your own. Definitely ask for help when you need it. Receive help when it's offered. There's nothing wrong with being helped. But if black people keep waiting for the system to change to save them from their bad situations, it's most likely never going to happen. I don't want to say never. Anything is possible. But that could be a lifetime of waiting. And you may never see it before your lifetime is done. This current lifetime now on Earth. Along with that, I wanted to bring up some information about BLM that I had to research because I actually don't know a ton about them. I don't watch the news, as some people already know. I don't watch, read, or listen to the news, but this information did come to me and I did do a little bit of research. Where has all the money for BLM funds, where have they gone? Because I just recently heard about Breonna Taylor's mom, named Tamika Palmer, and she posted on social media. I'm going to show a screenshot of her post because it apparently got deleted shortly after, because I guess it didn't go with the agenda for BLM. But I will just read the highlighted parts. And the first part says, I have never personally dealt with BLM Louisville and personally have found them to be fraud. I could walk in a room full of people who claim to be here for Breonna's family, who don't even know who I am. I've watched y'all raise money on behalf of Breonna's family who has never done a damn thing for us, nor have we needed it or asked. So talk about fraud. So in my research, I found that, I don't know the exact number, but millions of dollars were raised in support of Breonna Taylor after her murder. And from what I can find, it doesn't seem like her mom, Tamika Palmer, has received any money from these donations, which makes me question, where did they go? Because in total, I found that the BLM have raised billions of dollars overall for supporting. I'm not even sure what they're supporting. Like, honestly, I don't understand what the money is being used for. What I have heard, what I have also found in my research is that the money is being donated to something called Act Blue, some fund that basically goes to the Democratic campaign, meaning, who's our president right now? Biden's campaign recently for this last year of funding that's been raised. I will admit that I am very ignorant when it comes to politics. I don't understand it. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And so I don't identify as Republican or Democrat. But I have recently, over the last couple of years, learned a little bit more about politics. Like, I learned that apparently black people are supposed to be Democrats and are supposed to only vote Democrat. And the reason being is that Democrats are supposed to care about black people and their struggles and about the situations they're in with poverty and how they live, and that they're going to help make their lives better. But so far, all I've seen is talk. I haven't actually seen any government official, any president really do anything for the Black community. And I just think it's kind of odd that we keep voting every 4 years in these presidential elections thinking that something different's going to happen or something's going to change, and that we believe in these people that we don't actually know who they are to make this change, and nothing ever happens. And is it just me, or has anybody else noticed that the topic of racism and BLM doesn't seem to come up or be important in mainstream media until right before an election? Could this be that they're trying to emotionally manipulate Black people into voting for Democrat, for their side, because of what they created in the media with racism? That's just food for thought.
BLM founders have gone on a multi-million-dollar real estate spending spree. The self-professed trained Marxists founded the organization Black Lives Matter with a mission of appearing to care about the Black community. One of the founders, Patrisse Khan-Cullors, who's a socialist and therefore against capitalism, bought millions of dollars worth of real estate. Funny thing for a socialist to do. One of the homes she bought is in an LA community with less than 2% of a Black population. This particular purchase is seen to be very supportive of her commitment to the Black community. Patrisse, is that how you say your name? Patrisse? Is facing intense backlash amongst accusations that she's using donation money from BLM to fund her real estate purchases. Shockingly, she's denied those accusations. She claims she's using her own money to fund her real estate purchases, not BLM donation money. Oddly enough, only capitalists would have millions of dollars laying around, not socialists. So whether she's lying about not taking donation money or she's lying about being against capitalism, either way, according to us, she's being more honest.
And I don't understand why more people aren't questioning where these funds are going to, because I haven't heard or found anything about it going to Black communities or raising money for Black businesses or for rebuilding projects in the ghetto, or I haven't heard anything like that. Like, where is this money supposed to go? What is it supposed to do? I mean, billions of dollars is a lot of money. That could get a whole lot of people out of poverty, I guess. A lot of Black people out of poverty, if that's what it was supposed to go to. But instead, there have been probably billions of dollars worth of damage during protests and riots, which I think are actually still going on in Portland right now. So this organization and this money is supposed to do a good thing for Black communities, but instead it has burned down a lot of communities, and a lot of Black people have lost their businesses. I have a hard time wrapping my head around all of this. I don't see the logic in it. I don't see why anybody would give money, to be honest, because I haven't seen or heard personally from that BLM has done anything to help Black communities. Like, I would like to see some proof. Like, talk is just talk. But anyways, I respect people have the right to donate money to whatever they want to donate it to. That's their right. But I also just ask that people question what's being done with this money, especially after they've donated, keeping up with it. And I don't expect anyone to just believe everything I say. I want you to critically think about what I say and to research what I say. And you're not going to find all of this information on just like CNN or Fox News. I mean, you're going to have to go to alternative sources, use DuckDuckGo or something else in order to find this information. Because yes, it is very heavily suppressed, but you can still find it too. And a lot of times they will just try to make it sound like it's crazy conspiracy theory stuff, but it's not. I don't believe it is. I think it's a conspiracy, but it's very real. It's fact. So rather than just donating money, which money can do a lot of good, I will admit that, especially if in the right hands. If you want to end racism, which again, I don't think BLM would even change the minds of people who are racist, and I don't believe the whole system is racist, but just be kind. Just send love, be love to other people, help others out when you can. It doesn't necessarily have to be with money. And that will raise the frequency of the planet, and that's going to be beneficial to a lot more people than just money, especially if it's not getting spent the way it should be or what it was meant to be in order to help out certain communities. As always, this is just my personal opinion and my belief and my truth. Feel free to take it or leave it. Maybe take some things that resonate if they do, and leave the ones that don't. But if you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.